here's the basic question. He says, on the same expiration date, is the theta decay quicker on the option with the lower delta? Actually, no, the theta decay should be quicker on the option with the at the money delta, right? It should have the highest time value, so that the theta decay would be highest. Let's just take a look. Let's just go to a chain. We'll stick with Baidu since we used that for that other example we talked about. And let's just go to the option chain. And we're going to take a call chain. And I'm going to add in that extra column, Fernando. Okay, so let's go ahead and change our column. I'm going to see the theta as well. So theta, of course, is the rate of expected time decay of an option as time passes. Whether there's an event coming, I should have put it next to delta. I'm sorry. I might go back and do that. Let's do that. That'll be more clear. My apologies. Let's just change our order. Move daily theta up next to our delta. Fantastic. So, daily theta, where is the highest? Daily theta is highest right at the money. Makes sense, doesn't it? The at the money option, as we just talked about with that long straddle discussion for Marcia, you always have the highest risk because you're paying into the two most inflated extrinsic values or time values. The at the money option always has the highest time value. This will happen as we go further out. That was a bad example because that was expiration. But notice the in the money options, Fernando, with the higher delta, same expiration, have a lower theta expected because we paid into a lower time value. Yes, the intrinsic value made these prices higher, but the time value, here we go, the time value percentage is much lower. The max is right here at the money. And since theta is the measurement of the time decay you'd expect over a daily basis, the daily theta, the option that has the highest time value, always at the money, is going to have the highest theta, meaning that you should expect to see a quicker decay numerically in that case on the at the money option. Going to a lower delta. So here we're at 0.5, 0.53 where we expect. Let's half that, close to it. Let's go to 0.29. Yeah, it's very similar. The theta decay here is 0.2889. Okay, so it's a little bit lower than this. But that's 28 cents off of 218 versus 33 cents off of 535. So now what you want to ask yourself, Fernando, is are you talking about the highest monetary expected daily theta, which would be with the at the money option, going to a higher delta, you get a lower theta. Going to a lower delta, further out of the money, you get a lower theta because you have the lower time value. The max time value and highest daily theta is always at the money. But again, percentage-wise, you have to ask ourselves, this is a little bit more than 10% of the cost I paid. If I sold this out of the money 167.5 call, and on Monday it's down 29 cents, right? That's a little bit more than about 12% of the price that I collected. Whereas here, if I only lose 33 cents off of 535, I'm not quite near the 10%. So, Fernando, are you looking for monetary theta, which would be at the money, or are you looking at percentage theta, which you'd have to take a look at based on the price and the expected theta on the position as well? Another tool that you can use on power options to kind of estimate the rate, not just the daily theta, but the rate, is that I'm looking at an option chain here. We'll stick with that 167.50 out of the money call with our 0.2889 expected theta. If I go to the calculator tool and we go to Black-Scholes, in this event here, it shows you what the expected theta would be. Of course, the expected theta in this case, this graph being drawn, is theoretical. If the stock stays at the same price, which we know it won't, probably going to see some movement. I don't know which direction, but Monday we're going to see some movement one way or the other, and that's probably going to change the rate in that case. It'll change the decline. If that option gets closer to at the money, you'd probably see a faster theta now. That option goes further out of the money. You're probably going to start seeing a lower monetary theta, I should say. But now it's a question of percentage-wise, what are we looking at? And as I expected to see a little bit, is that percentage-wise of a premium bought or premium sold, the lower delta is going to have a higher percentage, it looks like to me, against the cost. The at the money is going to have the higher monetary expected theta. Okay, so that's what you're going to look at in that case. The lower deltas, you're probably going to have higher percentage rate, Fernando, in that case. Now, let's take a look at Facebook while we're here real quick. Baidu, we know, has earnings coming up in next week. So we know what we're looking for in that scenario. And let's just take Facebook. I know it's still probably pretty high volatility. Yeah, it's pretty high. That's fine. That's fine. Let's go to next week. Keep the same call chain. Let's go 2 weeks out. Let's go to February 25th. Even that's a standard expiration. Wow. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Here, the implied volatilities are about the same. The prices are different. But without earnings coming up, I think we're seeing some skew on Baidu more than we would expect because of the earnings coming up, Fernando. But take a look at this. The expected daily theta for 14 days out on Facebook, as I go from a delta of 0.559 to 0.329, it's not too different. 26 cents off of 373, but that's a much higher percentage, 29 cents off of a price of 913. So the rate percentage-wise is better here. But it's interesting to me that, changing, that's not a big change in delta, 0.559 to 0.463. It's almost the same expected theta. And here, it's still close, and we've dropped down to a delta of 0.417 from 0.559. That's pretty interesting that they're so close. It really starts to drop off here in that range at the 230 strike at 373. Still not collecting 10% with an expected theta decay, Fernando. But again, it's still pretty lofty. For what it is compared to 29-cent theta with the at the money 913. Pretty interesting. But I just wanted to use that as a comparison to kind of illustrate that there's no one answer. You're still going to want to check it. This looks like it would definitely match your conclusion and your approach that you're looking at, where those lower deltas out of the money calls or puts might be seeing a higher rate percentage of theta that you're looking for. But in this one, without earnings coming up, doesn't seem like there's much big of a move as we saw from 0.33 to what was it, 0.27. That's about the same, I guess, as we did on Baidu. And yes, I know they're different stock prices, 161 versus 220. But again, I just wanted to show that as a comparison, Fernando. All right. Let's go back to the main home view. Another question came in live. Okay. Oh, yeah, and he says, yes, I noticed that selling puts with lower delta deflate quicker than the higher delta. That is very true, especially if the stock's not moving. If you sell an at-the-money put that has a higher premium, Fernando, but the stock stays just with a 1 or 2 point difference for 4 or 5 days, you're going to see more decay with those out-of-the-money options. That's why I like the bull puts, as a matter of fact, because using the out-of-the-money bull puts with that higher probability range, some days I'm in a trade for 3 or 4 days and I'm almost near 50% profit on the position. I don't close it yet because I'm looking for the full, but same concept there. That's why that helps. My delta's around 0.15, 0.16, somewhere in that range.